over you somehow. Before I close the door, I need to hear you say goodbye. Baby, won't you change your mind? Waiting for a sign from you, waiting for the signal to change. Have you forgotten what your love can do? Is this the end? Walking through the city, your diamonds and a shining bright. The sun is sparkling on the shaft of your night. Flowering morning rain, dying in my hands, was it all in vain? Superstar in your own private movie, I wanted just to mind a part. But I'm no fool, I know you're a fool. I never really wanted your heart.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, John. Was that ready to give up on anybody showing up?
Well, I was looking, and I'm the first one here. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Anyway. Yes, you are. You're the first one here. So, let's end Maisie's star there for a little while. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how are you?
I'm doing good. I like this weather.
Hmm?
A little bit cooler. It's nice, sunny.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's definitely beginning to feel a little more like fall.
Yes, definitely is. Yes, right.
That's okay. You know, I think most of us are ready for it.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, to me, the summer this year was just really nasty.
Really? It didn't bother me too much. I mean, it did.
The rain. There was so much rain and humidity. That's what bothered me.
Yeah. Well, you know, that didn't bother me so much because in summers past, we didn't have the rain. We had the humidity and we had the heat.
Right.
And at times it just got like really oppressive.
No, very true.
So this summer really wasn't all that bad, in my opinion. But that's just me. Anyway, so we got a few folks here. We got Veronica and Elon. Yay!
Hello.
And, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, and I've gotten used to the fact that, you know, we're not going to see Bob or Eloise today because they're off.
Correct.
Doing their corporate classes. Yeah. But yeah, I got a whole bunch of work to share. India sent in a piece that she's working on, and I'm going to show it to you guys today. But we're going to actually talk about it on Thursday because she can't be here today. So when we do the critique thing on Thursday, I'll go back over that one again. But Ilan got some inspiration from an interesting source, you know.
It was
Yeah.
It was on a visit with my wife to the hearing aid in Costco.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
And the lady there is very talented, and she was wearing this T-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that gave me the inspiration.
Well, we're gonna have you tell us all about it when we show that piece of work. You know, you can tell everybody,
Okay.
you know, how you came to do what you did. You know, and then Veronica's got, you know, actually 2 paintings she sent in, and you know, so she's doing some interesting stuff, and we got stuff by Wanda, who is not here yet. So
they're probably on their way.
well, I hope so. You know,
I don't know. Their attendance has been sporadic lately.
Yeah, it's been going up and down a little bit. Okay. Well, look, it is 2:02, so let's go ahead and get started.
Sure enough.
Yeah, we'll just jump in there, and you know, we'll kind of, you know, work our way through it. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. That's the one we want to share. Okay. So can everybody see a lady in a kimono?
Yes.
A painting
Very
of
nice.
a lady in a kimono? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, well, we'll start there because that's actually mine. And I got this, you know, kind of nice email from Bob. And, you know, Bob was going to have this young lady come over to his house and sit for him. And I guess Bob has been a part of a group of painters up in Kennesaw, you know, for a good number of years up there. So he had a couple of his friends over, and he asked me if I wanted to come. And that was just after I'd gone on vacation. And I said, yeah, sure, why not? So, you know, he set this up. This is actually a Japanese kimono that he owns, that, you know, he let her wear, you know, for this particular occasion. But this is, this would not be the bride's kimono, but this would be one of the attending, you know, party, you know, to the wedding. And generally in Japan, when there's a couple getting married, the woman wears a very vivid, bright red kimono. Okay. And then everybody else either wears white or this very kind of pale, pinky sort of color kimonos. And, you know, it was a beautiful, you know, it was a beautiful kimono. And, you know, we put her up in front of a window, and he had a shade to drop behind it, and the sunlight was kind of coming through the shade behind her. So it made a nice painting. This was probably about 2 hours is really all we had. But yeah, it was fun. Then, and that's in oil, and I want to say it's like about a 9x12. It's not very large. It's a tiny little painting. This is a little bit bigger. And actually, this was the day that I had left on my trip. The first place I stopped was in Valley. And I have a big bush out there of Confederate roses, and it was in full bloom. So I picked one. And so I painted this in the studio before I got on the road. And it's not finished, you know, but it's just kind of the initial, you know, composition and stuff. But I tried to lay lots and lots of paint down on it, and you know, had a lot of fun with it. So I need to intensify the color of the flower considerably. And I don't know if you guys know anything about Confederate roses, but when they first bloom, they're white in the morning, and they only bloom for one day, and then they're gone. But they start off as a white flower, and then as the day goes on, they turn pink, and then as the day gets later on, then they turn this, very dark magenta color. So that's, you watch them change all through the day. Let's skip ahead. This is that painting I was talking about that I did at Shane McDonald's the other day. And I mixed up a gray, which really could have had a primarily violet base, and you can kind of see the purple, in the gray tones. And then I mixed up, as the warm side, a base with, primarily yellow. And so I get a warm cool. And again, this is about probably 2.5, 3 hours. Is about all we got on it. And it's a little bit bigger. I think it's like about a 12 by 16. But it was, it was enough, information so that if I wanted to go back in and do more work on this and work out, more of the information in color, I could. In this particular case, she, didn't want anybody to take any photographs or anything like that. So for me, it was just important to get, the value structure and, and a general likeness of her, on the page. And so I didn't really play with the background or anything else. Just the piece of fabric, that she was, sitting on. And I got down to the last part of it. And since I couldn't really take a photograph of her, I did about a 15-minute drawing, just, a little study of her face, just to try to get a little more of a likeness of her. So again, if I want to keep going further, I can work from, what I have, and that's fine. So, and then last but not least, this is that final painting. This is the commission that I've been working on, and it's what is it? I want to say it's a 40. Yeah, it's a 40 by 60. So it's 40 inches wide, 60 inches tall. And
It's nice, Charles. Wow, I like that.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I got a lot of hours in that. lots of hours in that one. And that's, to date, this is about the largest portrait that I've done. This isn't the largest painting I've ever done. This is about the largest portrait that I've ever done. And if I had to do it all over again, I think I would have just concentrated on him and left out a lot of the background. It would have.
No, I like it with all the background because it really tells the whole story of what's going on here.
Right. Yeah. Of who he is. Yeah. And that's why that, he's attached to this particular church. And so I wanted to get some of the elements and some of the feel of what the, church is like on the inside. But, just from a practical standpoint of, how much do I really want to pull my hair out? I probably could have taken that very same painting and really taken, about that much of it away, and just kind of concentrated really, on the figure and the podium and, and left out a lot of that other stuff because it took, a long time to paint this, really did.
I like that you've got him like he's speaking instead of just standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what he does. So, yeah, to have him up there and have him say nothing would be kind of like, yeah, yeah. I don't know if
But you've seen stuff like that, just standing there looking all staunch, you know. But this one, he's got this character showing.
Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely preaching.
Yeah.
So that's
He's really animated. And I like, is that kente
Yeah.
cloth? I really like that too.
yeah.
It's nice, yeah.
But I mean, you know, I learned a lot in the process of doing this, and you know, and sometimes I just have to learn not to make it, you know, harder on myself. Is kind of, you know, one of the lessons here. So yeah, in the future. But you know, I mean, I was happy with the way it turned out. You know, the overall environment. You know, the stained glass window behind him, and you know, the whole, you know, all the different, you know, pieces of furniture and the podium and stuff. So, you know, I think it turned out well, and you know, we'll see how they receive it. You know, I'm sure, you know, we'll get some feedback on it, but you know,
Is that going to hang in the church then, or a vestibule or something?
no, it's going to a it's like an organization that supports the church. You know, is where it's, well, that's, you know, basically who commissioned it, and, you know, where it's going to be at. So yeah, I don't think it will be in the church itself. So
On something like this, are you going to put a frame on it, or will they frame it?
no, they'll frame. Yeah, no, I just do the painting, and then they'll, you know, they'll frame it the way they want to. So yeah, I mean, it's enough just doing the painting at that size. So, but yeah, again, you know, I'm happy with the end result of it. You know, but there's many times in the process of doing this, and normally, you know, it would take me, you know, probably 80 to about 140, 150 hours to do a portrait, you know, with a fairly complicated background. This was almost double that. So there's a lot of time in this, you know, painting. So, but, you know, like I said, you know, you do surf, you know, different projects and things like that, and you begin to learn kind of what your tolerance level is on certain things. And you know, now, you know, one of the reasons that it kind of drug on so long was because of COVID and everything else happened right in the middle of it. I'd started this actually before, and everything got put on hold for a while, you know, because of COVID. But you know, it's yeah, you know.
It makes me think of the Flemish masters with the portraits and all the environment around them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little more like a Vermeer. You know,
right.
Yeah, because, you know, Vermeer's whole thing was about painting the figure and putting them in the context and showing the light, you know.
Right.
And that was a big part of this, is trying to capture the light, you know, from the stained glass window, you know, coming in, you know, and kind of filling the chapel area with light. So that's what I've been up to. And
So was the chapel area a little darker, or you lightened it up?
well, overall, the church kind of felt a little bit dark. And you had to get there early, you know, like early in the day, early in the morning, to have the sunlight coming in. at that low angle and kind of lighting up, that chapel area. And it seemed to make more sense to try to catch it at about that time of day, because that's really when services would be going on in, like Sunday morning, things like that. So, that's what we were shooting for, to try to kind of capture that time frame, and
I think you got it. I think you got it.
Him doing his thing there. So, then we have eyes. The eyes have it, right? This is Eloise and her drawing. And didn't we do 5? I thought we did like 5.
Yeah, there were, I think, 5, and they were like just a single eye, not the double.
Yeah, well, she did doubles on all of them. And, because I think she showed up late, kind of after we gave the instructions. And so, but yeah, these are her drawings of, or studies just of the eyes. And, nice job, She didn't quite capture sort of the form that I was kind of hoping that she would, and all of you would get, after we kind of went through the explanation of how to, set it up. But again, she came in late, so she missed a lot of that. So that didn't get translated into the drawing. Then we're going to talk about somebody who's actually here. This is Mr. John Giglio. And so John sent in a couple of things. He's been busy. So John, you want to tell us about this?
I don't know if y'all recall last year, I did one of the deserted station in the railroad track, and sort of a sepia-looking tones. Anyway, so this was just going to be another sort of offspring of that idea, the track and them.
Nice, I like it. I like that, John.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Though you have more color in
yes.
that piece than you did the other one.
Correct.
Yeah. And in many ways, I like this piece a lot better. You certainly have a better understanding of the perspective, and the building feels, good and solid and very structural, and all of your vanishing points are going back. And then with the addition of the color, you've got a kind of a warmer, cooler palette on there. And it works real nice. Overall though, the color is generally what we would call, fairly subdued. Everything's kind of muted.
Yes.
And it adds to that sort of antique, kind of feel, to the piece. So yeah, I think you achieved what you were after, and yeah, you did a really nice job at it. So
thank you.
Any idea where this is at?
I don't recall. I said there was a picture, and it was a series of abandoned railroad tracks. I don't recall where though.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at the architecture and trying to figure out what part of the world that might be in. Because in many ways it doesn't look like it's, in the United States.
Correct. No, I think it was a European.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a European style building. So we have a question or a comment. Somebody put, my internet is acting up, goes in and out and freezes for 4 seconds. That's Wanda. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're here.
Some things you're saying I'm not hearing. Yeah. But some things are just saying I can't hear. Your voice goes away. I know it's my computer. It's not you all.
Oh. Okay. I'll yell.
This picture, This picture reminds me, we have a railroad, what do you call it? Amtrak in Buffalo. And it's in, and you can go there. It's a little more modern, but it reminds me of that with the house there and the train tracks. And it's a small little area that Amtrak goes through. And this reminds me of that.
Yeah. Yeah, when I look,
If you'd like to purchase this one, we can put a price on it.
Oh, I cannot afford that.
he didn't even tell you what the price was. You know?
That's okay.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it might be a whole box of brownies or something like that.
Oh well, now okay, let's talk.
Yeah, you never.
Bartering.
Yeah, bartering. Well, I was going to mention one thing. If you guys are interested in, scenes like this, a lot of the small towns, in Georgia, like for example, not East Point. What is it? What's just south of East Point? College Park. Yeah, College Park.
Okay.
Yeah, College Park has an old train station. Woodstock has an old train station. Tate has an old train station. Kennesaw has an old train station. And, they're all, slightly different styles of architecture, but they're all kind of out of the same general period of time. And actually, Woodstock has got a really, they've refurbished theirs, and it's really quite nice. Marietta, by the way, has a train station. You just wouldn't know it because it's kind of like they've renovated it, and now it doesn't really open up to the train track. It actually opens up kind of toward the square, which never made any sense to me why they did that. And they used to have an old boxcar out there, but they've removed that now. But you can find scenes similar to this in the area, and get out and actually do some plein air, painting or even drawing. And there's some nice places, and it's just like, probably most of the little towns in Georgia, if you go, and they're still small towns, still functional, you can find these old train stations everywhere, all throughout the state. So just in case you're interested. And then we have these guys. So what's your story, John?
These are some friends of mine in Wisconsin, and they were actually, it was on a not Skype, the other one, FaceTime.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So they were actually looking at their computer screen,
Mm-hmm.
and when we were talking earlier about eyes and portrait type things, I thought I would give it a whirl and see how I could do on a portrait.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there's a resemblance, but it doesn't really look like the people.
Okay. I was about to say, actually the guy over here on the left, looks a lot like Bob.
Yes.
Other than Bob's got more hair on his head, I think. But yeah, it reminds me of Bob a lot. Are these guys related to each other? Are they like father and son or something like that, or are they just friends?
No, they're just friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they've got similar features. And with the age difference, I was kind of thinking, maybe.
Yeah, the one was the foreground, the pink is a little more sickly, and
Mm-hmm.
the other one, the blue, helps him out around the house when he needs help.
Okay. Yeah.
Not quite a caregiver, but.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Good friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we need those. Definitely
Yeah.
need those, yeah. All right. And then we've got, I want to say this is if we can get to it. A wolf?
Yep.
Okay. Is there any particular reason why you chose to do a wolf?
I don't recall if we were talking about animals in your class, or if it was in Kermit's class we were talking about animals. So I thought I found this picture and I thought, well, let me give it a shot. I don't do animals very often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you know, I definitely recognize him as a wolf, not a dog.
Yeah.
You know, and you got the long snout and kind of the structure of the head and everything. You know, you did a really nice piece, you know, on that. And I also like the way that you're getting better at separating your background, you know, from your background and subject, you know.
Yes.
With, you know, kind of controlling the intensity of your color and value.
Okay.
So it's good to see that you're doing that pretty consistently. And
Okay.
because, you know, one of the things that you did pretty consistently in the beginning was that everything was a lot flatter because you weren't, you know, really
Correct.
modifying your color, you know, and separating
Yes.
out those things.
Yes.
So I just wanted to point out, you know, you definitely making some changes there.
Okay.
Then we have your eyes.
Yep.
You know, different studies and stuff. And see, you know, when I look at these eyes, you know, these actually have a lot more structure and feel of being round than when
Okay.
we looked at Eloise's, right? Eloise's were a little bit flatter. But, you know, like you really get a sense of the roundness, you know, and this one, you know, kind of, sort of, you know, it's a little
Looks
bit.
like you ran out of time on that one.
Mm-hmm. But you know, you're seeing kind of that high point, low point. You're seeing the roundness, you know, in the actual structure of the eye itself, and you're getting a lot of that in the drawing, so that's good.
Okay.
Let's see, and then last but not least, evidently you're very happy, very proud of this piece because you've got it behind you.
I like the color.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it too, John. It's very pretty. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. The
Nice.
yeah, the one thing that, you know, helps us work pretty well is the fact that the tree that you have in the foreground is pretty consistent in color, and it has a higher range of value, you know, stronger darks,
Mm-hmm.
you know, stronger lights, and it really helps pull it forward. It gets a little kind of lost and awkward, you know, where the sky, where you've put in these really darker blues back here,
Mm-hmm.
because the value gets so close to the tree itself.
Yeah.
And I probably would have, you know, encouraged you to maybe not go, you know, go quite so dark and quite so intense on that blue in the sky back there,
Mm-hmm.
in those few little places, because most of the rest of it sits back, you know, really nicely. You know, even the warmer light parts, you know, still sit back behind the tree, but it's these kind of stronger blues. And, you know, the other thing that doesn't really help it is the fact that in the sky, these have kind of a harder, more definite edge and shape. You know, so again, it's not only the color contrast, it's also the hardness of the edge that makes that blue want to come forward. Okay.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. So yeah, you could probably have that value back there, but if that line were not there and it were just soft, you know, then that would sit back.
Right.
But you see the area of the tree that's, you know, closer to us, if you look at it, it's all very soft, in comparison, and so that sort of dominates right there, here and in here as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I was trying to do we talked about tree with a little bit of leaves,
Yeah.
not full.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, if you're going to do that, you know, when you start doing those backgrounds and things,
Yeah.
and you do that for the most part, you know, you just have to intentionally keep them a little softer, you know. Otherwise, you know, they begin to compete, you know, with what's in the middle ground and foreground.
Yeah.
Okay?
And now that you mention it, and I see it, but I didn't see that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. But it's a beautiful piece, and I like the color. And again, you know, the colors are kind of subdued, but it works, you know. And you know, some people would look at this painting and go, okay, yeah, you know, a man painted that. You know, that and the train, you know, station, because of
Okay.
the subdued color range. You know, but you know, yeah, generally women don't paint in those gray tones quite as much as men do for whatever reason.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
generally. You know, and that's, you know, that's not a hard, fast rule, but you know, generally, you know, women tend to gravitate toward, you know, more intense, brighter color.
Well, isn't there actually a physiology thing with the eyes and the way the men and women perceive color?
There is, yeah. It has more to do though with warmer and cooler temperatures than it does. Yeah, like women, for example, see, you know, cooler temperatures, you know, blues, greens, you know, violets, much better than men.
Okay.
And in particularly like in the blue and blue green range, you never want to argue with a woman about if something is blue or green, because you're probably wrong. Okay.
Good advice.
Yeah. But then again, you know, if she wants to argue with you about whether it's red or it's orange, you're probably going to win that, you know.
Okay.
Because we, you know, men have more receptors, you know, for those kind of that yellow to red spectrum, where women have, you know, more receptors in their eyes for that blue-green, you know, sort of range of color.
Okay.
So yeah, they see more blues and greens than we do, and we see more reds and oranges than they do.
Interesting. That's interesting.
So, and
So don't make us see red. Don't make us see red.
Well, you can't. That's the problem, you know. But you know, the thing we seem to agree on is yellows. You know, we're both pretty sensitive to yellow, about equally, I guess. So, at any rate, moving on, we have Mr. Ilan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, wait a minute. I want to start here. Okay, so tell us your story.
Oh, how pretty.
All right, Ilan.
This lady is a hearing technician in Costco. And she was wearing this beautiful shirt and was very colorful. So I asked her to let me paint it, take a picture of her.
Mm-hmm.
And she readily said yes. And my wife liked it too. So I said, okay, let me paint it. So I sat down and I painted it. And that's what you see in my background.
Mm-hmm.
I just put it there.
Yeah, this is just the T-shirt that she was wearing. Now you're
she was wearing a T-shirt, and I took 11 by 16 or something like that.
Right. So now this is what you did.
Yeah.
After seeing that T-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. I do.
Yeah, it's a fun, really nice piece of art, and it's
Yeah.
got a lot of movement and stuff in it. Yeah.
I'm still putting some points of color on it, but that's it more or less.
Okay. All right. Well, just be careful. Don't overdo it. It's it's really nice the way it is.
Okay. If you said so, and the people around agree, that's it. I don't touch it anymore.
No, I like it the way it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, nice.
Very
Thank you.
colorful, very bright. I like that.
Yeah.
Now are
Thank you all.
now you're still using acrylic, right?
Yeah, it's acrylic.
Okay. All right. Good. All right.
Very nice. Like it.
Yeah, I
Now,
think
is that just the canvas on the back, or did you paint is the background primed?
No,
or-
I took the canvas and I colored it with white and with some water.
Mhm.
And it's not a heavy background, it's just
Yeah.
light white.
Okay.
so. You basically just added another layer of paint on top of the already primed canvas.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Now we have this is India, Paul, and she's not here today, but she's going to be here on Thursday. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. Yeah, so this is a painting that she's working on.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's very nice.
I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
know she's been struggling with those rocks in the
Yeah,
foreground.
she has. Mhm.
yeah, and so she wanted me to make a comment on them. This is actually the reference that she's working from, and the only thing that I would say to her, I actually like the painting better than I do the actual reference. And I
Yeah.
like the range of color that she's got. The only thing I would say, and I think she did it because she submitted another photo of the painting, is that back here on the background, I would probably soften that up some more. Now this is the one that she sent in, and this is the more recent one. See, but I would probably soften, the edge, and it looks like she's been trying to do that, but I would also gray the color down, more than she's got it. It's
I'm מבסוט.
so yeah, if the color from here to there, got a little more muted, right? And then this was a little more intense, and then you have more of the contrast and stuff here, then the painting would move back in distance better than it does right now. But that would really be my only comment. It's really this area right in here, and just kind of taking down the intensity of the color back here. Because really, if you look at some of the mixtures of color and stuff, the intensity here and here and all the way up in here are all kind of about the same. And so something's got to happen back in here. It doesn't have to change the value, it's just the intensity of the color that needs to be lowered a bit. Okay, but we will talk about that again on Thursday. But she's doing a really fantastic job. I mean, it's a really complicated painting.
Yes.
And she's got a good feel for the rocks, underneath the water, as the water's moving in and pulling out. the rocks themselves. You know, she's got a good feel for the structure and, you know, the size relationships of things. You know, you know, she's got some nice variety in there, so they're not all the same. So that's all good. Okay.
Is this an oil, Charles?
Pardon?
Is this an oil painting?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, it is. It is. It is
Yeah,
oil.
I think it's an oil.
Okay. Well, evidently, you know, she talks to you guys. You see more about it than I do. But yeah, I'm not really certain what she's working at. I would suspect it probably is oil.
Yeah, I don't think she uses anything else but oil.
Yeah. You know, I'm looking at the weave of the canvas, and I'm kind of wondering how large this is. It doesn't look like it's really a very big painting. It looks like it's probably kind of medium size.
I'm trying to send her your link because she said she didn't get your link.
Oh.
So I'm trying to send it to her.
Okay. Yeah, I had sent out links before I left, and I thought most of you got it, but I also noticed that she was missing out of my email list.
Okay.
And, okay. Is she trying to get on now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if you can send her the link, that'd be great. Okay. Yeah, she said something about she couldn't make it today. You know, but
I
in
think,
the case,
she had told me she thought you were going to do it Thursday. That's probably why.
well, I only told her Thursday because she told me she couldn't be here today.
Oh, okay, okay.
But you see, I was going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to show it to you guys.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of people talking in the background. Has anybody got a bunch of people over at their house talking in the background? Oh, is that you, Wanda? Okay. People visiting? Okay.
Yeah, it's my mom and sister and nephew.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is June. I don't think she was there Friday. Or maybe this is from like a couple of weeks ago. She sent it in. You know, and again, you know, she's working with just trying to get the structure of the head, stuff like that. And, you know, her drawings are really improving quite a bit, you know. Both of these are really pretty nice. 9:30. It's the end of the last month. And then she sent in this.
She's here.
Pardon?
She's here.
June?
I'm here, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Quiet.
Yeah, I didn't see you. I'm kind of looking on the list. I, you know, didn't see you anywhere. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the pink flowers are you, right?
Yes.
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So when you know, was this from a Friday drawing class, or is this something you just wanted to do on your own?
Yes, I do on my own.
Okay. All right. And is this somebody you know?
No, I don't know.
You don't know her. Okay. But you had pictures of
The
both,
reference. Yeah.
yeah, of both front view and the side view of her face.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm wondering, you know, where she's from, because she has kind of a classical, either French or English profile. You know, with the you know, the forehead kind of, you know, with very little indentation right there. That's very kind of French. You know?
I think this is from the you show us.
I showed you.
From the you show us on the class. I just take the screenshot.
Okay. All right.
Somewhere, I think. I forgot.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who she is. Okay. But nice drawings though. You know, they're coming along
Thank
really
you.
well. Then you sent me this, and this is what, Niagara Falls?
This is the picture. Last time I joined, you said that you want me to send the reference. This is the, yeah.
Yeah, so my question is this Niagara Falls? What falls?
Yes, yes,
Yes, that's Niagara Falls.
Okay,
Niagara Falls.
so this is on the U.S. side, and then there's more over here to the right. Toward the
This is
Canadian
supposed to in the Canada side.
So, yeah, that's the Canadian side.
side. This is the Canadian side?
Yes, and the other
Yes.
side would be U.S.
Yeah, this is
Hmm.
yeah, Canada side from the tall building. We went to over there to eat. So I
Okay.
took the picture from the top, like tower.
Tower.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
American Falls is smaller.
okay.
yeah.
Well, now, you were on the Canadian side in a tower?
Yes,
Okay,
I joined the trip.
Yeah, the,
Join the
the
group.
Seagram's Tower.
okay.
Yeah,
So-
the water tower is big. It's a very tall tower. You
Yeah.
can see the all. Yeah.
Okay, so this area right here, though, is in the U.S., right?
Yeah, this is the U.S.
Right, okay, but you're in Canada looking, yeah,
Yes,
across
yeah.
the river, yeah. Because I'm about to say,
Yeah.
wait a minute, that means that the Hudson River, or what river is that? That's not the Hudson,
Niagara.
is it the
Niagara.
Niagara River?
Niagara River, yes.
Yeah, anyway, yeah, it would have to be flowing the wrong direction, you know, if that's Canada, so. You know, just kind of looking at where things are. But yeah, there's a whole nother set of falls over here on this side. That's the Canadian side of the falls, right?
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
the Canadians are bigger than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's your reference, and
Yes.
then
Not this one. Last time I sent to. This one's new one. It's from the somebody's picture.
okay, and this is a waterfall as well, right?
Yeah, this is not Niagara Falls.
Yeah,
Maybe-
I didn't think it was
yeah,
Niagara.
it's a falls.
Okay, but yeah, it looked like fall color, and
Yeah.
then a waterfall. You know,
Yes.
or maybe over rocks, maybe over a dam.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, are you still working on this, or what's going on with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
Yeah. I'm not finished yet.
Okay. Yeah. So,
I just want to show you, get your opinion, how to fix it.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, you're gonna have a couple of things that you're gonna, struggle with here. Okay.
Okay.
Because you're trying to put in those trees in the background that
Uh-huh.
are, fall color,
Yes.
and you seem to have a lot of light, hitting them. They're going to be very bright and very intense, and that's going to want to make that area of the painting come forward, right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So the question is, how do you get the water, and particularly the foreground, to come forward even more than this?
I see. Yeah. This is my struggle.
Yes. Well, it's everybody's struggle. But, and so what you might think about, you can't really change the color too much here in the background, because if you do,
Okay.
then it won't really look like it's autumn, right?
Yes.
If you dull the color down, stuff like that, it won't really look so much fall-like. So the only thing that you can really do back here, now, is this oil or is this acrylic?
Oil.
It's oil. Okay.
Yes.
So my recommendation would be all of the trees and things back here,
Uh-huh.
make the edges blurrier, kind of softer.
Okay.
okay? You know, you can keep the color as intense as you have it, but if you make it softer, it will sit back because you're going to put your sharper edges up here in the foreground, middle ground. So all your shapes up here will be, you know, more crisp, you know, have more definite edges and things to it. The other thing you can do is, and you're kind of doing it already, where you've got a high degree of value contrast, something that's very light against something very dark. See? So if you keep, you know, that range of contrast, you know, in this area, this will all come forward and that will move back for you. Okay. Right now they're kind of balancing each other out.
Yes.
You know, and so, you know, it's all going to be about how do you get all of this to come forward, right? And, you know, I see you beginning to put in some leaves and things in here, and that's fine. Just don't have it end right here, you know. Have it either come across.
Okay.
Yeah, either have it come across or not touch it, you know, move it back. Okay, because you're creating what we call a tangent there, where the two things come together. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's probably enough for you to think about right offhand. The other thing I would say too is the value of the sky, and I'm not talking about color. I'm talking about the value. Okay.
Yes.
It's got to be different than what the tree is, because right now, if you squint down, you kind of lose the tree in the sky. And so I would make the sky much lighter.
Okay.
And
yes.
It could still be the same color, that kind of blue, but make it a much lighter version of it, lighter value. And then your tree here will separate away from it, and you'll be able to see that there's a tree there, you know, more easily. Okay.
Okay, I try.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's just paint, and we can always put more paint on, right?
Yeah.
So.
Looks like India's here now.
Oh, is she? Yeah. Good.
Hello.
India, are you here? Yep, I see her.
I'm here.
I see her name. Yeah, we already talked about your piece, but we'll talk about it again. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So here, we'll just go back. Yeah, because we just finished it up. So this was your reference. You know, these are the rocks and the photo that you sent in.
Yes.
What you were painting. And, you know, I was telling everybody that basically in looking at the reference and then looking at your painting, and I'm going to go to the later version. Okay. And I titled your painting, by the way. You know.
What title did you give it, Charles?
On the Rocks.
Okay.
On the rocks.
So, well, you know, you had to be on the rocks, you know, to take that photograph. So.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway.
Or you could have a glass in your hand.
You could have had something on the rocks while you were on the rocks, you know?
Yeah.
You know? But like I was saying, you know, I actually like the painting much better than I do the photograph. For one, you know, you're finding, you know, a wider range of color, you know, within, you know, like the rocks and the water and things. You've also lightened up the water overall, so it's not so dark, and it feels, you know, warmer, a little more inviting than it did in the photo. The only, you know, critical comment that I would say, something, you know, that you might want to become aware of, is that really from about here up to the horizon line, okay, the color in here, and it's really more on this side than it is over here, though you have some of that darker blue in there. The color is a little too intense, you know, and what's happening is that, you know, the intensity of the blue in here is kind of moving forward and flattening it out, you know, from about here to here, and not really moving back for you. And what I was telling everybody is that if you gradually, you know, start at the horizon line and gray, you know, don't change the size of it, don't change the value of it, you know, but if this blue back here got closer to a gray, and then as you move forward, you know, you gradually saw a little more blue to about right there, and then, you know, the colors started getting maybe a little more intense, that would all lay down for you and move back. It would feel like it's laying down. Right now it feels kind of a little bit flat. You see what I'm saying?
I think I see, because when I look at it, that whole section stands out.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's because of the intensity of the color, you know. So again, you know, if you just begin to kind of gray that area down a little bit, you know, it will start moving back for you. Okay.
Okay.
Now there's a couple different ways you could do it. You know, you can sit there. You know, the tedious way of doing it is going back in and mixing, you know, all those colors again, and creating, like, you know, a gradation of, you know, from the intensity back to, you know, a very muted color. That's one way of doing it, and then going back and just overpainting it. The other way would be to possibly make a glaze and just glaze that area. And in this case, normally you don't use opaque colors to glaze with. But in this particular case, I would take, you know, maybe something like the lighter blue right in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, you know, and this has obviously got some white in it, so it's going to be a little bit opaque. But then I would thin that down with some kind of medium, not turpenoid, okay, not a thinner, but an actual paint, like liquin, Gamsol, you know, something like that.
No, I have what I have is linseed oil.
Okay, you could. That's fine. You know, you could use that. If you're going to use linseed, then I would probably put like 2 parts linseed oil and like 1 part, you know, 1 part like thinner, right?
Okay.
And, yeah, you know, because if you use just the straight linseed oil by itself, it'll take months to dry. You know, it will just forever. Probably not what you want. Okay.
Okay, so basically I'm going to take the intensity out of that section and blend it in with the rest of it.
You're just going to lower the intensity. Okay. But
okay.
Yeah. And like I said, one of the ways you could do that is don't take the darker blue, but take that lighter blue in there, and you know, mix some of that, and then, you know, because it's fairly grayed down already, you know, the area. You know, take it and then thin it with that, you know, into the medium, where it's, you know, a little bit cloudy, and then, you know, just go across, you know, from the horizon line down, you know, just go across that area and see if you can't, you know, kind of fade that back a little bit.
Okay. What do you think about the rocks? Do they look like they're underwater, some of them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, the effect of the rocks underneath the water here, and, you know, that as the water goes over the rocks, particularly when it's pulling out, you get like this welling up of like air bubbles and stuff around the rock, and you've got that effect really nicely in there. You know, in fact, all of your water in here, the waves, things like that, you know, those all feel, you know, pretty convincing. So yeah, you're doing fine with that. You know, the rocks, you know, themselves, like I said, you know, I think they're much better than the reference that you started with. because
Mm.
you pushed a little bit of that green and brown. So you got a little variation in color in there. And that's nice. So that really helped, bring it forward and made it more interesting.
Okay.
In the reference itself, everything was,
Dark.
very dark, and you didn't really see a lot of shift in color. In your painting you do, and so yeah, I think that's a good deal of improvement in there. Let's go back and take a look. One thing I did see. Yeah. Now, one thing you lost in the painting that's very clear in the reference is the rocks that are wet versus the rocks that are dry.
Yeah, I didn't know how to make it look like that.
Yeah. Well, all the values back in here where they're drier have to get lighter than what you've got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that they all have to get as light as this, but they just have to generally get lighter in that area, and then they'll look like they're dry and that these are all wet. Sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, that's, because if you go back to the reference, yeah, you really don't see, many dark values in there, right? They're kind of far and few between. Overall, it's much lighter than the area here, right?
Right.
So it's basically just raise your value, overall, to where everything's a little bit lighter in here, and
Okay.
in comparison, and then you'll begin to get that effect of, one being wet, one being dry. Okay.
Cool. Thank you so much.
All right. But yeah, you got a nice painting going on there. So
Yeah, I just got to figure out how much I'm gonna charge for it now.
oh, okay. So how big is it?
What size is it?
Yeah.
It's 16 by 20.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking earlier at the texture in the canvas, and I was saying, this can't really be a very, very big painting. I mean, it's probably like, 1620, 1824, kind of a medium size, painting. Just looking at the weave of the canvas, in the painting itself. So, but yeah, that's a lot to take on, for a painting, that scale.
Okay.
Price it high.
Yeah, because you got a lot of little, lots and lots of little details. But you're you're doing a nice job.
Thank you.
Yes, I love her work.
Thank
I
you.
love
Thank
her
you.
work. She does beautiful seascapes.
Ditto.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Is Rebecca Pinkney here? Pinkney. She did these. So this is something that we were doing in class, and she started the drawing of the butterfly. And then she took it a little bit further. She did put some color pencil in there. I'm not sure about this area. I don't know whether she's combining graphite with color pencil or whether this is all color pencil or not. It almost looks like some of it's graphite though. And generally I would tell you, probably that doesn't work so well because graphite is very soft and smears and moves around quite a bit. So it tends to make the drawing look kind of dirty. If I were going to do that in color pencil, then I would just use color pencil, and that's it. I wouldn't use anything else, unless you want to use watercolor as a base, which you could do. Then she's got this piece that she's working on, and so she's doing this cottage. I would say it's probably in like Ireland, Scotland, something like that. And she's doing it off of a print, an artist print, which is this piece right here. And so, you know, the process is considerably different because she's painting. And she's got to get, you know, a couple of different values, you know, the value changes here in the background and midground that she doesn't have in her painting yet. But the thing about this print is that really everything in here, it's all values of green, you know, really from, you know, the edge of the mountains down. It looks like they've added a couple of different colors in here, you know, maybe a red, and in some cases a red over the green to make almost like a black. Let's see if we, you know, in around the trees and the bushes. But overall, I mean, I think it's no more than probably a 2 or a 3 color print. So for her to pull that off in the painting she's doing, yeah, there we go. You know, she's going to end up having to go back and remix this green and make different intensities and different values of it so she can get, you know, the separation in there.
That original sort of poster art, would you say?
No, it's a what they call a lithograph.
Okay.
You know, so it's actually a print. And I'm guessing, yeah, I'm guessing it's probably off of, you know, what we call a metal plate. And so they've etched into each of these areas where this area is going to, even though they've inked it all with the same color, the same green, there's some areas that are saturated with green, other areas, you know, where there's just a little bit of green. And that's because of the way they made the plate, you know, how the plate takes the ink and how much ink is in each area. But it's pretty much so, like I said, it's about a 3 color, you know, a 3 color print. And probably the first thing they did was put down the, I would say they probably put down the yellow first. And there may be some yellow, you know, underlying areas, you know, in the green that we don't see right now because the green's been overprinted, but it still affects the color because inks are, you know, tend to be transparent, not opaque. So there was the yellow, there was this gray, and again, you know, there may be some gray in some of these areas. I'm a popular guy. People want to call me today. I don't know why.
So when they're doing a lithograph, would that be like 3 separate plates then that they overlap on the poster?
Yeah, they would make, you know, 3 separate plates, you know, for each of the basic colors.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a red plate, you know, for the pink and the flowers. There's a green plate, you know, for all of these different greens. It would all be one plate. There would be, I don't know, you know, they could have made that gray by a combination of the red and the green, you know, overprinting each other. It doesn't seem to make sense that they would run one separate gray plate for that one area right there. And then you have the yellow. And so if this is overprinted and it's got, you know, a little bit of red and a little bit of green in it, then it, you know, they can basically just keep it down to 3 prints, you know, or 3 runs, you know, for each of those colors. So, That's kind of the way I do it. But it is, you know, it's a you know, it's a hand pulled print, and something, yeah, I can't tell who, yeah, what the name is actually, but it's called The Point, and it's, yeah, I'm trying to read the number. It's like, you know, like 3 out of, you know, 18 or something like that. So, you know, nice print. But then again, getting back to her painting. So basically, yeah, she's got to get a lot more paint on there, and then she's got to figure out what she's going to do here. And she's not, you know, she's not following it exactly, and that's fine. You know, she's making her own. But I want to see what she does with, you know, as she moves along. She also sent this in. Well, wait a minute. No, this is Susan Adair. Okay. Sent this in. Is Susan here? Mm-hmm. Susan, where are you?
Is she here?
Yeah, I don't think she is. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I'm thinking that's a reference piece. You know, I don't think that's her drawing. I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't think so. And then this is the eyes that she did. And, you know, Susan is not real comfortable drawing like portraits and people and stuff like that. But, you know, she's finally getting, you know, some of the basic concepts and ideas about, you know, trying to make the structure of the face look more dimensional. And you know, she's doing okay on these. You know, she really is. And so, you know, it's good to see that she's making some strides forward in that area. And then we have, last but not least, Miss Veronica. Where you at, Veronica? You were here earlier. There she is. I see her. Talk to us.
I didn't hear the question. That's an abstract that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't decide if I am going to put oil on top of it and take it to go another way.
Okay.
Because this is acrylic and I'm not accustomed to working with acrylic.
Yeah. I think putting oil on it is perfectly fine, but I would encourage you, go ahead and get all your color.
Okay.
You know, in the acrylic, you know, and lay it in there.
Okay.
And have you know, a good separation, and a composition, you know, before you know, start layering oil paint on top of all that.
Okay. I'll continue to work with the acrylic and
Yeah.
sketch out some more things.
Yeah, because, you know, depending really, and I don't know how you see, you know, this piece being finished, but it seems to me, just looking at what you've got down so far, that what you're creating is something that we would call a piece of hard edge art.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very kind of 1950s, 1960s, you know, approach to abstract painting. And you can actually see where you lay down the, you know, and you've taped off areas, you know, to make them kind of crisp stuff. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, so I'd get all my color blocks down. And then really the only reason that I would use oil is if I wanted to have some kind of effect where I wanted something softer versus harder. Okay.
Okay.
So if you wanted to kind of create a gradation or something, you know, within, let's say, this blue area right here. Let's say that you wanted it darker on each side, but you wanted it lighter in the center. See, you could build up the oil paint in here, you know, and
Okay.
get a gradation, you know, moving each direction till you ended up at that, you know, darker blue edge, right? Or really any of those areas. The other thing you could do is maybe you want to keep, you know, hard edges in certain parts of the painting, where other parts you want to make it softer and you want to blur it. And again, that's something you could do with the oil. You could, you know, break up those edges so that they're not quite so sharp, you know, where there's kind of a softer look to it.
Yeah. I'll work on.
So you got lots of possibilities.
Oh, yeah.
How big is this?
It's like a 12 by 24.
Okay, yeah, one by two.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So.
And it's a panel. It's a panel. It's a wooden panel. So.
Yeah, it doesn't look like canvas. It looks like a hard.
No.
So,
Yeah.
how deep is it? You know, is it like an inch and a half or so deep on the edge?
Yeah, it is. It's not very deep, but it is at least an inch and a half.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, most of the time when you submit stuff to shows, right? The things that are 2 inches or more,
Okay.
you know, they'll allow you to put in there without a frame. Anything under 2 inches, you know, generally they require you to put a frame on.
Okay.
And you know, this is such a contemporary modern piece that you really don't want to put, you know, you probably don't want to put a frame on it. So, because hard edge art generally didn't have frames. I think the idea was that, you know, they did them at such a big scale. And, you know, so when you're standing in front of them, they kind of fill your visual plane.
Okay.
And so they kind of give you the effect like they just keep going. Now, at a smaller scale like this, you know, you're not going to have the same effect. So, you know, I still would try to just kind of keep it clean, you know, and have a clean edge on it, because it's going to make it look like it was meant to be a contemporary piece of art rather than something that's traditional.
Okay.
So that's kind of the direction I would kind of recommend going with it. Okay. So moving on, we have your eye.
Yeah.
And you have a very nice design inside the eye, in the iris. It looks like you had some fun with that.
I did.
Yeah.
I worked on that one after we did the eyes for class.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. You know, this part, you know, has a lot of interest and dimension to it, but your outline around it is still kind of flat.
Okay.
And the reason it's kind of flat is that it doesn't look dimensional because it's an outline, and the outline is pretty consistent all the way around the eye, and it's not going to be, you know, depending on where the light is. And in this case, because the highlight is up here, that means that the light's coming in from up above and from the right. Then this eyelid actually sits in front of this, and it's going to cast a shadow on the actual eyeball. And as soon as you start, you know, putting a gray under there, you know, it's going to start pushing that eyelid out closer to us, and this is going to sink back, you know, underneath it. Same thing here on the lower lid. You know, the lower lid isn't just an outline, it's probably got a thickness to it. So you see a little bit of a plane up here, you know, on the top of that eyelid. And then the value underneath, because this sphere that the eye is, you know, keeps curving, you know, it keeps curving right up under, you know, this lower eyelid here. And so the eye doesn't stop right here. It actually stops, you know, somewhere down in here. And you can see that, you know, on people's faces when you look at them. You know, they have the actual edge of the eyelid, you know, but then, you know, there's a whole flap of skin here that wraps around the bottom part of the eye. And you haven't indicated that, okay? Now, in your drawings, you know, you did better, see? You know, yeah, these look like, you know, they've got some form to them, you know, like the eyelid here sticks out in front of the rest of the eye here. And here on the bottom, you also see some thickness in that lower eyelid. And then the bottom part, you know, that falls, in this case, into shadow, you know, underneath, you know, the eyeball. You don't see it as much here, though you've got a value, you know, to kind of hold that space. You do get it a bit here, right? And not so much here, you know. It's, you know, you've got the thickness here. I'm not quite sure, you know, I'd have to go back and look at that particular eye. But for some reason, this, you know, looks a little bit flatter than some of the rest of it. You are finding kind of that high point, low point, you know, in the eyelids. And always try to be aware of that, because, you know, you're almost never going to see where, you know, the low point lines up with the high point, you know, straight up and down. It's always going to have an angle, right? And it's generally an angle that kind of moves, you know, from the, you know, from the bridge of the nose, you know, at an angle, you know, downward and outward. But on some people, you know, it actually reverses and it goes the other way. So you really got to kind of look at that, you know, for each individual. Okay.
Okay.
And then we have your painting. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's Wanda. That's right. Okay. We got your painting, and you put a frame on it.
I did.
Okay.
I like that. Nice.
Thank you.
See?
That's the one that's going. You won't see it again. Well, not in this venue.
Right. Now, where is it going?
It's going to Kennesaw.
Okay. Somebody's house?
Yes. Someone's home.
Okay. Yeah.
And they came in and they said they liked it. So I said, okay, I'm gonna give it to them as a gift.
Okay. All right. Well, you put a nice frame on it. So.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah, frames always change, you know, paintings considerably. You know, picking a frame is almost as important as, you know, painting the painting. You know, because you can put a frame that complements the work, or you can also put a frame that absolutely ruins the work too. So I've seen both. So, but you know, this is a fairly kind of conservative, simple frame. You know, it gets a little ornate out here on the outside, you know, which is very traditional, but then it kind of saves it because it's got this very nice, simple silver, you know, inlaid. And so it separates the painting, you know, and gives it, you know, kind of a real clear break. You know, and so, because the painting itself, you know, the way you painted it, it looks very kind of contemporary, you know, and it's almost, you know, it's almost an abstract, you know. you know, we read it as a landscape and stuff, but the way it's painted, you know, it's very kind of simplified in many ways. And, you know, it works as an abstract painting as well. So it's got a very kind of contemporary feel to it. And if you would have put a real traditional frame on there, it may not have helped as much. But, you know, that,
Okay.
yeah, that was a nice choice. Is somebody falling over at your house or something? Or?
Oh, yeah, you can hear everything. No, that was the oven door, actually.
Oh, okay. All right. Somebody baking cookies?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got a question for you, though. Okay?
Okay.
Because I'm looking at the frame and the painting. And in the frame, the painting looks very vertical, right?
Yeah.
And then in your other photo that you sent in,
Yeah, that's a different painting.
it's a different thing?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a totally different painting.
Yeah.
Oh,
That one's going too. That goes to another house.
oh, okay. All right. They're very similar. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a whole series going on.
Yeah, and I'm ready for to work on another series. So that's why these have to go.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. It was puzzling to me. It's like, well, why does this look horizontal? But then when I see it in the frame, it looks vertical.
Right.
Two different paintings.
So this one is going to New Jersey.
Yeah.
And yeah. So yeah, this one is turned differently. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
30, 40 by 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And that,
like them both.
yeah, that feels
Thank
like
you.
a pretty good sized painting. What size is the one that's been framed?
Well, with the frame, it's probably bigger, but it's also, the canvas is a 30 by 40.
Oh, so they're
Both of them.
by 40s. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I did these before I really, really, really paid attention to you have to do thumbnails.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So now it's like, okay, you got to practice a little bit.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
But they liked them. So I was like, okay, let me send my earlier work. And then as I progress, I can see my progression.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, are these are oil, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because
The colors blend really nice together. I like all your different colors, how they blend like that.
Thank you.
yeah,
I had a good teacher. I had a real good teacher with that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the sky and stuff, and you've got the clouds nice and soft, and just a few sharp edges in there. So, it looks very natural. And then with the ground as well, you've got, a fair amount of change in intensity and value, as you move forward. And so it sits back, and lays down, and, the background moves back in the back real nicely. So yeah, you did a really nice job at that. So
Thank you. I had a good teacher.
well, it's good that people listen every once in a while. Thanks for
That's the reason he teaches, because he gets somebody that finally listens to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you don't, in my head, then you're working at trying to fix it all the time. I don't want to be in that space all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I just had that conversation with a friend of mine, the other day, and she was talking about, how it's like, we get done with something, and then we have a tendency, as they sit around the studio and stuff, we want to go back to them, and we want to fix little things here and there, and that can go on forever,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you gotta kind of get in the habit of, it's like, no, it's signed, I'm done with it, I'm not going.
Yeah. Well, I signed this one first, and it's when I knew, I was like, okay, I'm done, I'm signing it. And then the other day I signed the other one. I said, okay, I'm done, I signed it, I'm done.
Okay. Well, congratulations on that. I'm glad you
Thank you.
done. Okay. And sending them off to good homes. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
So last but not least, we have Wanda. And here, Wanda is here. Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
So this,
Well, I'm here.
yes, well, you seem to be here.
Yeah.
And so these are the studies that she did of the eyes. And she actually put a ruler on it so we could kind of see what size. What do you got, about an 8-inch pad there?
Yeah, that's what it's 8.5.
Yeah. So it's not like a real big, drawing pad. But you did a real nice job, getting kind of the shape, of the eye in here and getting the curve and having it feel kind of like it's curved. The only thing I would say, and maybe you didn't see it or whatever, but again, that ball that the eye sits on doesn't stop at this line. It keeps going.
Okay, yeah.
So you would get some kind of value or tone or whatever. And it's really, really important that, you try to indicate, that form in there. Otherwise, it's very easy to make that eye look flat. Okay. And just that little bit of tone underneath it will really help make it read as, okay, there's a ball sitting inside there. Right.
I see, yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's kind of the same thing here. You're seeing the upper eyelid and sort of the overall shape of the opening of the eye, which can change all the time. But yeah, you're kind of missing that lower, that lower edge right in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Now here you have a little bit of it. See, just that little bit of tone in there. See, made that feel, rounder in that area. Same thing here. Just with that little bit of, gray underneath there. Again, the eye doesn't stop at that line; it goes underneath. Yeah, and then this one is pretty flat. Okay, but now when
that one was hard.
That was hard.
Well, that one was hard because her eyes were very large, and
was this
her
the
pupil was like.
Yeah, was this the African lady?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And her pupil showed like it was right in her eye. It wasn't like bottom, like you were saying, how it would go down below the lid itself. Mm-hmm. It was like her entire pupil was showing. So it was sort of hard to do it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it was showing. Yeah. She had very open kind of eyes.
Very open eyes, yes.
Yeah, but even at that, you still saw the overall shape of the ball, and so you could see, where the direction changed from the upper eyelid, to where the brow was, and then you could also see that from underneath the eye to the cheek, and it was a little more subtle underneath, but it was still there, and just a slight indication of that, would have made that feel like it's still sitting on that sphere. Okay. You got it. You pretty much so have it in here with the lower eyelid, and you see it up here on the upper, and so see it's beginning to sit back, in that eye socket, and that's what I keep talking about all the time is how you get it to sit back, and feel like it's actually part of the face rather than just kind of floating on top. And so, with the values surrounding it, you've indicated a little bit of the form in there. So it feels like it's actually sitting, as part of it. And that's, it takes a while to get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes a little bit of work. So, but yeah, nice work on those. All right. So that's everything I've got.
Wow, that's all I sent you? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's the only thing I got from you.
Yeah, stuff must have not went through. I'm gonna have to try it again.
What else did you send me?
I sent you another eye that I did in a charcoal class that I'm in.
Oh.
But I'll check my email. Sometimes sending it on the phone doesn't work like sending it on the computer.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't
So
see.
I'll check them out again.
Yeah, I didn't see anything else for you. So,
Okay.
but if you send them in, we'll look.
Yeah, I will. Okay.
I did send you more
You
from
sent.
Friday. Before your vacation,
Yeah.
like eyes or some figure.
Okay. Well, I'll have to go back and look for those.
Yeah, I think you did the one with the woman looking up like, and then the man with the beard and the hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those you didn't get. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Or well, maybe I got them. I think I talked about them maybe before I went on the trip on Thursday.
Oh, I was gone, so I didn't see it. Okay.
Yeah. But I can, yeah, because I remember those now that you mentioned them. Yeah, I think I did talk about them.
Okay.
That, you know, obviously I've been gone for 2 weeks, but yeah, it's Thursday before I left. But I can pull them, and I'll put them in this Thursday. Are you going to be here?
Yes, I'll come on. I'll be on Zoom
Okay.
because I'm still away.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll pull them in June. I'll look for yours as well. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Anybody want to see what West Virginia looked like?
West
Yeah.
Virginia.
Any
Yeah.
interest in seeing that? I mean, we got about, you know,
What about some of the work you did while you were in West Virginia? You said you did some painting.
I showed that earlier.
You showed the pictures. I didn't see your paintings.
No,
Oh, that was the painting, and I thought it was a picture. Oh,
wow. At the beginning of the class today?
This morning?
Well, no, not.
You showed them yesterday at the end of the class. A couple, they were still wet.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it was. Yeah. Okay. At the end of the class. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting my days mixed up.
Okay. Well,
Uh-oh.
I guess as I get older, I'm getting easily confused. But guess what? You know, we're gonna kind of see them anyway, right here. If we look.
Okay.
Okay. Because I'm going to show you when they're still on the paint box. Okay. And what I was painting. Like for example, this one.
Okay.
Everybody see that? Paint box.
Not yet. Oh, there it is. Oh, this is the first time I've seen this.
Yeah, this is the first time anybody's seen it.
Wow.
Yeah, this was the last painting that I was doing when I was in West Virginia, the day that I left. And
Yeah.
my little niece, you know, decided that, you know, she wanted to hang out with me. So we went out and, you know, we did a plein air painting. This is just across the road from where they live. And so, you know, we were right there, you know, in her little neighborhood, you know, looking across the road. And a really nice old house up there. So I decided to kind of start a painting of that. And she kind of helped me with the clouds and some of the trees. She's 8, so, you know. Yeah, so she wanted to get a little paint on the canvas. So she did. This is you know, this is something I'd done, you know, almost, well, it was basically at sunset. And,
nice.
Yeah, that West Virginia landscape. And I was up at the kind of the top of a ridge, you know, looking down, and there's a whole little town in here. And this is actually not in West Virginia. This is in Western Virginia. And I was in both. This is in a small town called Parisburg. And if somebody from Virginia or West Virginia, you know, tells you that they live in Parisburg, they don't say it that way. they call it Pearsburg, you know, even though it's spelled Parisburg. So it's just, it's one of those things. But again, you know, this was like right at sunset, you know, when I was doing this. And then I did a morning version of it in a minute. So that was in the evening. You know, we'll just go to the morning, because I spent the night there, so that I was hoping that when the sun came up, that it would be clear enough that I could see it and maybe do some more work on it. But no, instead, I got this,
Yeah.
which was fog.
Fog, yeah.
Lots of fog. You know, every morning was like really, really foggy there. And on that particular day, it stayed foggy till about 10:30, you know, where it really began to lift. And so, you know, there's a close-up of the painting. This is really kind of what I was looking at. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot out there, you know. But it was nice. It was still fun, you know. Kind of reminded me of, you know, some of the paintings that Monet did, you know, in the haystacks and stuff like that on the foggy days. And so, you know, I got to play with that a little bit. Let's see. And then this was down by a little stream. That was kind of the first day I got there. And again, this is like a little 2-hour painting. And I'll show you where this was, you know, the photos and stuff. But yeah, that's the painting that I did. And most of these are real small. I mean, I don't think there's anything much bigger than a 9x12, other than that long painting, and that was like about a 8x16 or something like that. This is a panoramic view of what I was looking at in the morning. So, and there's the same view from the evening before all the clouds set in. And then here it is.
That's
right.
Nice. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, that's the sunset. That was the evening before. So, you know, just as, you know, at that point it had gotten too dark to really continue, you know, working on the painting that I was working on. And that lasted all of about 10 minutes. So you're not going to get all that down in 10 minutes. This is a little further up the hill at the very top. And this is a panorama, you know, so it's almost 360 degrees, not quite. And let's see if I blow it up. The thing, you know, and I wanted to get up there, I just ran out of time. But this is the thing that I loved about being up in, you know, in West Virginia was, you know, you see these mountains and, you know, the layers, how one sits in front of another. And, you know, they just kind of fade off into the distance. And then, you know, you get these clouds going over and they cast these big shadows across. You know, so they go back in and out, you know, light and dark, you know, across the shapes of the hills. So thought that was kind of fun to play with. This is along, now this is in West Virginia. And this is a old farmhouse. And I just like the way things sit in the landscape there. You know, the slope of the hills and the trees and stuff. You know, there's so much to work with there. Yeah, this is from the other end looking back.
So now those trees should be really full of color.
Well, they were getting color. You know, they weren't like at peak yet. You know, I got there a little too early for that. You know, but
I'm quite sure they're beautiful now.
Yeah. Well, it's only a week later. Yeah. Probably in about another 2 weeks, it'll be you know, pretty colorful up there. You know,
Now
but,
that's a highway. Nobody's on there but you.
right. Yeah. Yeah, I was standing out in the middle of the highway, you know, at the divider. You know, we had stopped at a little store across the road, and there was a park over by a river that I had walked over to. And, you know, just looking down the highway, again, you know, just kind of getting the layers of, you know, the mountains, you know, one behind another was, you know, really nice, you know, nice thing to look at and see. I wasn't going to stand out there and paint.
No, no, no.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, that probably would not have been a wise thing to do. You know?
No.
You know, my paint box would probably have been flattened by an 18. And those guys,
You would have been a splatter.
Oh, God.
those guys fly through that place.
Oh, yes. Mm.
Crazy.
That's a nice scene there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, this is what they call the New River or Indian River. Got two names. Locals call it the Indian River, and the it's the technical or name on the map is New River. But you know, I mean, there's just beautiful scenery. You know, like that old house right there. And see, you're beginning to get some color, and there's even color up in here. You know, it just doesn't look very intense because it was an overcast day. But you know, there's just, you know, beautiful, you know, landscape there. You know, it's like everywhere you look, you know, there's just, you know, great compositions and, you know. So this is that little stream I was down, you know, painting at. And this is looking down toward the actual waterfall that's about, maybe a half a mile, you know, down that creek.
Wow.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And then I threw this one in there just because it's like, you know, the water was like a mirror. You know, you just see the reflection of everything around it. So. This is looking, this is at the top of the falls. And then this is a little bit further down, so you can actually see, you know, we were only really looking at this part. Now we're kind of seeing the whole fall. So
Oh, very serene.
Yeah, so it's probably about, you know, 80 feet, you know, from you know, the bottom pool up to the top. And something you don't necessarily want to fall off of.
I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, my brother was telling me, you know, when he was a kid, they used to go out there, they had a rope swing, you know, that they would, you know, go off the edge, you know, on a rope and then drop into the pool down below. And it's like, okay. You know.
This is all just natural. It's not a park or anything like that. It's a conservation area.
No, this is just, you know.
This
is the way everything looks up there. You know.
Is there a lake nearby?
Not that I was aware of. No.
Okay.
No. West Virginia is full of like little valleys and rivers, and you know, it's like, you know, creeks. You know, there's water everywhere, and mountains, and you know, there's really very little flat land there. And it's just at the bottom of these little valleys that you get these farms and things in. And you know, there's you know, a view of the town of Perrysburg, as they call it. So it's spelled Harrisburg. Okay. And this, you can't see the mountain because the fog is covering it up, but that's where that big up there that I painted.
Okay.
Now that's the end of Western Virginia and West Virginia, and then this was taken in Gadsden, Alabama, on my way up. This is at the top of Nocatchee Falls, which is
Oh, in Gaston. Okay.
Gadsden, Alabama, and that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close to sunset. And here's an actual view of the falls. And
Oh, wow, yeah.
really pretty area. Yeah. The problem is, getting down, to the bottom, with a paint box or whatever, would be kind of great. But people do go down, underneath the falls. But it's probably about a 2-mile walk to get down there. So, and not an easy 2-mile walk. It's go downhill. So it's and then this is one of those crazy flowers I showed you guys earlier, the Confederate Rose. And
that's pretty.
Yeah, they're beautiful flowers. And they're really interesting because when they first open up in the morning, they're white.
Yeah.
And I mean white. And then as the day goes on, they turn pink. And as it goes into the afternoon, it is dark magenta color. And they only bloom for one day. They open up.
Wow, one day.
Yep. That's
It
all.
sort of remind me of an orchid a little bit.
I think they're closely related to like hibiscus.
Yeah.
Very pretty. Very pretty.
And they look, the leaf structure and stuff kind of looks like hibiscus.
Okay.
But yeah, real interesting.
You're a good photographer.
Yeah. But this thing is like 20 feet tall, in my yard.
Wow.
And
Oh my gosh.
it's absolutely full of flowers. It probably had over 100 flowers on it.
Oh my goodness.
And and they only bloom in the fall. So.
Yeah. You're a good photographer, Charles.
Thank iPhone for that.
I have a flowering bush that's outside my condo. I have no idea what it is, but it's the same thing, but it only blossoms in the fall. And they're white, but they're white all day, and then the leaves, the petals just drop off at night and they're gone.
Yeah. Is it a camellia?
No, that's what I was thinking. Man, is that how a camellia would grow?
Well, let's see. There's camellias, and then usually it's like late summer. There's another, and they're like real fragrant. What are those called?
Gardenias?
Gardenia?
Gardenias?
Yeah, gardenias.
Yeah, I don't think it's a gardenia.
No. Gardenia has a different type of shape to their flower.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty one.
Yeah,
The
but
flower itself almost looks like a dogwood, the way the petals are. And it blooms in the fall, and it's a white all day, and then the petals all drop off at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know what that is. It's maybe a camellia. I have to look that up.
Yeah. Yeah. The studio that I was using over off of Glen Ridge in Sandy Springs had a huge camellia in the back of it, but it was it was a combination of red and white camellias. They were generally kind of red, but they had these white kind of streaks through the petals. And, that thing would go into bloom like it's probably just going into bloom now, like October.
Yeah, this just started right now this week.
Yeah. And I mean, they last, camellia bushes like that will bloom all the way through like up till late November, even into early December, depending on what the weather does. But that thing had literally hundreds and hundreds of flowers on it, all the time. And it was It was huge. I mean, it had to be, 25, 30 feet tall.
Wow.
But yeah, there's, flowers are always fun things to paint, they're hard. They're really, really hard to paint. They're, the painting I had done of, the Confederate Rose, when I look at it in comparison to like because I actually picked one and took it in, and I couldn't get that same color to it. It just didn't have the intensity in it. And so I think what I'm going to do, it's in valley. I'm going to leave it there, let it dry. And then when I bring it back over here, I'm going to start glazing it to try to build up the intensity of the color, because it's really the only way you can get it. So, so I'm going to be doing, quite a bit of glazing on it just to get the intensity of that pink. Because, just doing it a la prima, you just cannot get the intensity of those colors that way. Just can't. So, anyway. So anybody got anything we need to talk about before we go away? We're at 3:50.
No, I don't think so.
No?
Can you tell me, I didn't write it down, I was a not so good student yesterday. The first artist that you showed, what was his name?
Balthus.
Okay,
Balthus. Balthus.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yes, he was the offending artist.
Well, it depends on who you talk to.
Well, hey, I mean, it's, for those of you who were not here yesterday, one of the discussions that we had, and really kind of the big primary discussion we had, was about the censorship of art. And there seems to be a, quite a movement right now of various groups trying to get art canceled, and not shown in museums, because, certain factions find it offensive. And it's like, let's not do that, because really the function of art is to get people to, maybe it will shock you, okay, but maybe you should be shocked, and maybe it should get you to think about it a little bit, about why you're shocked and what the artist actually means and what are they really kind of talking about, and then, how does that reflect on the society, that we all come from, because they didn't just do it out of the blue. They did it because, that kind of exists, within our society. And so, and they're just pointing it out.
Well, you start trying to stop one thing, now you got to stop another thing and another thing.
Yeah.
If you don't want to look at it, then don't go look at it.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah,
It's artistic expression.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were talking about that, and then how it also relates to, and it's not just art. I mean, there's a huge movement right now with various groups to censor everything. The content you can get on YouTube, different news programs, political ideas and discussions. Yeah. And, we live in a quote unquote free society. And how can you say that you live in a free society if institutions and there's, or individuals are sitting there with a thumb on a button that can turn something off and not let people have, the right, to speak? That, it doesn't matter, whether you agree with them or not. The fact is, if we are actually free, then, then they're, everybody's ideas, if that's what they believe, why shouldn't they be able to express it? Whether you like it or not. Okay. So.
Well, you guys, I got to go. It's 4 o'clock.
It
so
is.
I'll see you all.
So anyway, we will be back here tomorrow morning at 10 we're going to talk about a guy by the name of Herman Hinchy and how he has affected our world. And you could say he's colored our world, you know, in a way.
Okay.
Okay?
Is his name Herman or Henry?
Or Henry Hinchy.
Okay, thank you. All right, see you
Okay.
tomorrow.
Hey, bye-bye.
Bye.
Everybody take care.